Alright guys, welcome back to yet another Romsky video. And for today we're gonna do a little challenge because everyone's at home, everyone's posting some weird challenges, some push-up challenges, some sit-up challenges, some fitness challenges, some skating challenges, some boxing challenges, some kind of cooking challenges. I'm sure there are lots of challenges out there. I'm gonna do something a little bit different. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I am a big fan of photography. And so today, I am going to share that passion with you guys. Now I really hope you guys stay tuned. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two, maybe you already know this. I am going to try and teach you guys some photography tips, and at the end we're going to do the Romsky Photography Challenge. So at the end of this, I'm going to try to get you guys to post a picture, hashtag Romsky Photography Challenge. I'll check out some of your pics on with the video. I'm going to start off by saying you don't need any expensive camera. If anything, let's set some ground rules. First rule, you cannot use a real camera. And what I mean by a real camera, I mean like a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, anything that looks remotely close to this. What I want you guys to use is a phone. Why? Because pretty well everyone has one, everyone has access to one. Whether you like it or not, that's fact. The most popular camera in the world right now is the iPhone. Vast majority of you guys watching are using your phone right now, which means you have the tool. You possess the powers, okay? Now you need to learn how to use those powers. I'm gonna go really basic stuff. Anyone can do this. And you're at home, you have no excuse. Today, try experimenting with your phone camera. You'll be surprised. But I warn you, I really warn you, once you dive into the rabbit hole of photography, your pockets better be deep. Real deep.
How much cash you got in your pocket right now?
Because it gets expensive. Fast, like really fast. So all I can say is proceed with absolute caution, but you absolutely should try this out. Yeah, so we're all stuck at home. This is basically an activity for all of you guys to help you keep sane. Remember, hashtag Romsky Photography Challenge. I look forward to seeing your pictures. Now, number one, whenever people talk about a professional camera, what tends to look like a professional picture? In my opinion, how I feel is that for a photo to look pro, the background has to be blurred out. If you don't know what I mean, this is what I mean. You'll notice that the background looks blurred, and that's what people associate with a really good camera. A nice blurry background. And fun fact, these background out of focus bits is called bokeh, which is apparently a Japanese word meaning like out of focus or something.
Bruh.
And what if I told you you can do this with your iPhone/Android? I'm not going to say that your iPhone all of a sudden is gonna beat every real camera out there. It won't. There are certain physical limitations that you cannot match the same as a real camera. However, you can try to mimic it, and that is what I'm trying to teach you today. Now, if you noticed, see how my face is close to the camera? Everything blurs out. I move back. Now that background focus is kind of gone. So that is tip number one. Get close to your subject. So the closer you are, the closer you get to your subject, the more that background's gonna blur out and you're gonna look cool.
Oops.
Now this is not gonna work with every subject. It can work with food. It can work with pets to a degree. I would say for human subjects, unless you wanna make them look really unflattering, I don't suggest you go up to people's faces and start taking them. You can try, but now a lot of you might be thinking, my iPhone's got portrait mode. Not exactly the same thing. Yes, you can use portrait mode, okay, but I think for the challenge, let's avoid it. The portrait mode on cameras in general have gotten much better. However, they are faking it. They are doing its own, it's called computational photography, and basically what it's doing is it's taking multiple images and stitching them together, trying to mimic the look of an expensive camera, right? Because there's a limitation no matter what, so it has to try to compensate. It does its own little magic. I can tell on a human subject like 9 times out of 10 if it's portrait mode. It just doesn't look completely natural yet. It might get better in the future. As of right now, nothing is going to beat a really nice lens. Okay, so tip number one, if you want to blur the background, get close to your subject. Tip number two, lighting. Lighting is key. And I'm not talking about just lighting your subject, okay? I'm talking about lighting behind the subject, lighting around the subject, lighting in general. Okay, okay? I'll get more in depth when we go into the practical. So many tips out there. I just want to keep this really simple. I don't want to go any too technical. I want you guys to go out and experiment, try to find a passion, and empty your pockets when you realize you want to get a real camera. Tip number 3 is going to be go for camera angles that are not in your general view. If you're just standing and you're just standing straight and you're like, phew, maybe that's not the best angle. Maybe it is, but maybe it's too regular. Get low, go to the side. Don't be afraid to try new camera angles and different lenses, because now your phones have multiple camera lenses. So those are your 3 tips. Get close to your subject if you want to try to blur that background. Use any lighting, literally anything. Okay, lighting is your friend here. And 3, experiment with angles and lenses. Okay, you have them on your phone, you gotta experiment with them. They're not there just as an accessory. They're one of the most expensive parts of your phone. Use them. Okay, now your next steps to taking a picture for this challenge. Step number 1, you need to find a subject. I don't care what it is. It can be a person, it can be a pet, it can be food. It actually doesn't matter. To make an aesthetic photo, you could take keys. Take a pair of keys, try to take a picture of keys, try to make a nice composition and just post it. Something that looks to you good. Experiment. I'm gonna use multiple props, but for now, let's use this toy Spider-Man. I'm gonna go in detail now with the 3 tips that I gave you and what exactly they mean in practice. Hands-on experience. Let's do this. Okay, so this is what I've managed to look around, find my house. We've got this little Spider-Man figurine here. It's a keychain. Pretty simple stuff. Nothing too crazy. 2 little toy cars. For the sake of simplicity, let's start with Spider-Man. We've got Spider-Man here. We've got a ping pong table. Background is pretty uninteresting. Nothing crazy. It's literally just Spider-Man standing on a ping pong table. And I got my phone. Go close to the subject. Good. Okay, now, this is also worth to mention. It's not only that you get close to your subject, you also want your background to be far away from the subject. Let's touch on lighting a little bit. Let's say it's Spider-Man, he's off fighting crime. He probably has pretty dramatic lighting, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna dim this. Now, when we're on the street, and you take pictures on the street with a nice camera, you get these things called bokeh balls, which are essentially those little out of focused lighting elements that sort of look pleasing. And the way they get that is with a nice camera on the street, but we're gonna try to mimic that a little bit. We're not gonna copy it. I don't have time to compose this shot properly. I'm just doing this as fast as possible to teach you guys a little bit of stuff. What you can do, find yourself a set of Christmas lights. They just sort of add that little bit. Everyone has Christmas lights at home. They have a Christmas tree. Pull them out, try some stuff out, have fun. So I'm just gonna go in the background. Remember, we want to far away from the subject. I'm literally just gonna throw them here randomly with no intention. Just that alone is gonna make a difference. Let them just randomly, sporadically put. Nothing particularly planned out, just threw on some lights. And the thing is it doesn't matter. Why? Because it's all out of focus. You're not gonna see it. I've got a second phone here just as a flashlight that we're gonna use as a light. This light here is just lighting me so that we film. I don't want it actually on when I take the picture. Now, you don't wanna really use the flash on your phone. I would suggest against it, mainly because almost never is anything lit directly. Watch any film, look at photos, really pay attention to where the light's coming from. Almost never is it directly going at the subject. It's just not common. It's not a common way. It's either very evenly lit or it's like really harsh lights on the sides, top. It's uncommon that you'd find a light straight on someone unless it's like a news report somewhere. I'm gonna cheat a little bit and add a few more elements to this image, and that's these lights. These are just lightsabers, essentially. I'm cheating a little bit here, but yeah. This is just exemplary. Exemplary? Is that a word? It is probably a word. Is it correct? Doubt it. Yeah, it gives you certain tones that you can't get normally. I love these. Yeah, so you get the point. We've so far we've experimented with getting close to the subject, getting that background out of focus. We've experimented with different kinds of lights. You've even got these little lightsaber things going on, which you guys, I would think, don't have. Now, I want you guys to experiment with changing the lens. We're thinking about going ultra wide, but not just ultra wide, but also zoomed in. I think most people think that second camera is for zooming in farther. So when you want to get a zoomed in shot or when something's far away, that is the case. However, it does have its own purpose. If I take a picture and keep the subject the same size on the frame, but use two different zoomed lenses, your picture will look different. I know that makes no sense to most of you. Let me explain. So we see Spider-Man here, right? This is with the regular lens. Let's take one picture like this. Move him. Now we're gonna zoom in. Now we move back to match the size on the frame approximately. And I'm gonna take this one. We can see that Spider-Man more or less stays the same size in the frame, but the picture looks so different. See over here, it looks like the background is much closer to Spider-Man. Over here, the background looks farther from Spider-Man, right? And it's just a completely different aesthetic. I'm just gonna tell you one last trick. I use this all the time for my YouTube videos. Basically, all it is it casts a really soft light on your face, so not too many harsh shadows. If you're doing human subjects, harsh shadows usually aren't the most flattering. If you're doing something really dramatic, really cinematic, funny enough, if you watch a lot of anime, they tend to take a lot of stuff from cinema. Attack on Titan has really harsh shadows, it gives it drama. But in general, if you look at fashion shoots, everything's very soft, evenly lit. For example, those ring lights, why they're really popular with makeup gurus and stuff, because it's pretty even lighting. There's almost zero shadows. If you go to like Sephora or something and you look in the mirror, some of those mirrors are literally lit with like a ring around. Even the whole store is very brightly lit because it's a makeup store. They're trying to sell you their products. They're gonna make you, not to be offensive or anything, but the whole objective is to make you look as flattering as possible and make their makeup look as flattering as possible. So when you look at yourself in this perfectly evenly lit store, you're more likely to purchase the product. There's a whole tactic towards it. If you go outside in the sun, you take pictures in the sun, you'll notice it's really harsh shadows, so it's not the most flattering, like I said. But if there's a lot of cloud cover, clouds tend to work as a natural diffuser, so the shadows start to soften up. Your face looks more flattering. This is essentially what this is. There's a little piece of material in front of a light, basic light bulbs. And this is acting as a cloud, if you will, to soften up all the light. That's all it's doing. There's nothing technically crazy about it. It's two light bulbs inside with a piece of fabric. If you use a plastic bag and use this as a diffuser, this will act. This is a little bit too opaque. If you need something a little more translucent. And you can use this as a diffuser. This will diffuse your light, act like a cloud, it'll be softer. I don't see this being very practical though, but this is just a hack if you feel the need, you can use it as a flashlight. Also, if you go right up against, the plastic bag, it's not doing anything. It's still harsh light. You need distance between the light, like that. You need distance between the plastic and the light. It's going to make your light weaker, but it's going to make it softer. Just like how the clouds are acting. It makes the sun weaker, but the lighting overall is more flattering for human faces, for stuff like that. Also, before you post your pictures, don't be afraid to use the edit tab on Instagram. What I mean by that is, you go to Instagram right before you post, you go next. You go to not the filters over here, go to edit. Okay, then you get to control different parts of your image. Brightness, you want to bring it up, bring it down, adjust that. Contrast, what contrast does, it makes stuff that's dark darker and stuff that's bright brighter. Saturation, more color, less color. It goes to black and white. You can make it look more faded. These are pretty basic controls. You don't have a lot of control over it, but highlights controls the brightest part of your images. Shadows, the darkest part of your images. And vignette, which I guess darkens around, which I tend to do sometimes. It's actually a really nice effect. You can get a nice vignette and it looks pretty good. And if you press and hold the image, it shows you before and after. Pretty powerful tool on Instagram. It's not the best editing tool, but honestly, in a pinch, you pay nothing. Your camera is free because you're using your phone, essentially. So, yeah. So don't be afraid to try to play with those sliders. See what edits you come up with. And I seriously look forward to your pictures, guys. I think I'm gonna wrap up this video. I didn't even get to the cars in detail or anything. I don't even think I need to. Maybe I'll take a few pics of the cars. I'll post them at the end of this video so you can see what you can do with your phone doing nothing. And I know you guys are all at home. You have nothing to do, so you might as well. If you have lots of time to kill, take out your phone, take out your Christmas lights, take out flashlights, or don't even. Go through your house and just take random pictures of random stuff. There's nothing, you don't need to think anything technical. You don't need to know how to use a real camera. And for this challenge, no portrait mode. Okay, let's avoid portrait mode because yes, it's getting very good, but it's also more forgiving for pictures. If you use portrait mode, I probably will notice. There's a chance I won't. There are some cases where portrait mode looks really, really good. But let's avoid it. Okay, no portrait mode. Use those 3 tips. If you want to ignore lighting completely, I think it's very important. As you can tell, it can change your photo completely, but go around your house. You might be surprised what you come up with. Post them on Instagram, hashtag Romsky Photography Challenge, and I'll review some of your pictures. Maybe I'll repost them if they look really, really good, I'll repost them on my Instagram, tag you guys. So go, hashtag Romsky Photography Challenge. Got it? Good. And if you guys decide not to submit anything, well, there isn't much I can do about it. Video would have been just a lost cause. Alright, I'll catch you guys next video. Like this video if you liked it. Dislike it if you disliked it. Hit that subscribe button so you know when your next video is coming out. And I am trying to post more often now since I'm not doing much. So far, I think I'm getting close to 2 to 3 videos per week, which is pretty good for me. Follow me on Instagram. Remember, hashtag Romsky Photography Challenge. Rules, no portrait mode, use your phone. Any other tools or lights are fair game. I really look forward to it. I will catch you guys in the next video.